Everyone's doing swell today. Good and dandy. This here for a moment, not too close to the phone, but oops. Oh, nice. I'm gonna open this for y'all. And we're gonna have a little experiment. So, oh, I love this. I just love the smell of this stuff. I'm wearing it for me. Anyway, I'm gonna share my information here, and we can get started. Wow, it's already 2:45. You guys are doing great. Hi, Makrella. Hi, how's it going? How are you doing? I'm gonna show you guys this. I wonder when. Wait, it's a surprise. It's a surprise. First of all, I'm gonna share my information with y'all. Yeah, crack my back. Listen. That fan needs to be turned off if you're gonna hear it. Wait. Okay, that was nothing. Oh, that felt good, but that was like nothing. Okay, I'm gonna share my info. Cash App, Instagram, Discord, PayPal. No. Cash App, PayPal, Instagram, Discord, and X. And I'm sharing my X. And I just post random stuff that I find. Sometimes I'll post a long tangent. Hi, Eric Cochran. I expected to see you here. Hi, Sedona. How are you doing? Yeah, share this info here. So, oh man, this haircut feels so much better and more natural on me, guys. I know some people aren't gonna like it. Most people do, though. And that's not the thing that matters the most. What matters is whether I feel more confident and like myself, it just feels more natural on me. Anywho, I had a really nice hair stylist back in the day. I'd always go to her salon because she'd give me a pixie cut and she'd always make it so nice. And it was $30, which is relatively cheap compared to just about every other hair salon you go to in this neck of the woods or whatever. So I'd go to her, and I was liberal back then, right? Well, she was a Trump supporter, and she was Christian. I was agnostic and liberal. And I was really, of course, I wasn't mean. I was like, I would never, say, you're wrong or anything like that. I was, just, quietly, nodding, being agreeable, I was being agreeable, a little bit stubborn inwardly, like I don't really agree, inwardly, but it's like I don't know why I don't agree, How would I know if there's a God if I don't have proof, that kind of thing, But she was just the nicest person, and she always gave me such a good haircut, and she always told me I was smart. We'd talk about stuff like, I was in school, and she was really chatty, and I was just kind of shy, but I would tell her about my geology courses and shit, and kind of miss her, man. I wish she was still my. But anyway, I'd watch how she did my hair. I'd closely watch because I'm thinking, maybe I can just cut my own hair, not have to spend an extra $30. Haircuts for women around here on average, are usually like $60. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Let me see here. I'm going to share my info. It's really hot today. It's almost 90 degrees. Okay, so Instagram, Anna.Katrina dot art. I found my varnish, by the way. Been looking all over for it so I can finish that painting of Christ. Of course, it's dry enough now for me to do that. But yeah, maybe we can go do that after I do this. It's crazy. Let's see. Oh yeah, Discord. Old. Yeah, oops. Underscore wing underscore 13473. And my X account. Here, now that we're sharing that, it's going to be at, capitalize the A, N-N-E-O-Q-O, N-O-Q-O. Alright. Hopefully we haven't made a typo here, because I can hardly see it. Alright. Cool beans, guys. How's it going? Hi, Nick Kerr, I guess. I don't see why that needs to be deleted, man. Deleted by Lewis. Okay. What even is the fuck is this thing I'm looking at? Yeah, that can be deleted. That's a jerk. What am I... Well, you know, I've been doing these live streams since mid-January, and what I usually do, what we usually talk about is addiction and recovery, how to get past withdrawal. We talk about art. I accept commissions. I share this information down here. I pin it. If you want to support my channel, that's very much appreciated. You don't have to. I don't beg people. I don't tell people that they have to give me money or anything like that. But for the most part, I put it down there in case anyone would like to commission me for a painting. You can go to my Instagram and find a lot of my artwork. Here, let me show you one of my whale paintings here. Show you a couple of them. And I do watercolors. This is a painting of my best friend who passed away. And I've told you guys the story when he passed away. He's my best friend. He was a kindred spirit. I listened to many stories by him, tried to, you know, I asked him if I could record his voice, and he said yes. So when we went to the bar together, I'd record him as he told me stories. And I wasn't a heavy, didn't barely drink anything. I'd share my Bloody Mary with him so that he'd keep telling me stories. Anyway, and he was homeless. So, yeah, I helped him. I lived in student housing for a little while. Snuck him into my student housing and let him sleep in my unit. As soon as I had to move out of that place, my boss at the cafe I worked at for 10 years respected me so much that he let my friend here, my Adrian, live in the basement of that cafe. You know, this is a little local hole-in-the-wall cafe, you know, very run down. But, yeah, he was a good friend of mine. This is a precious painting to me. It's not on sale, but it's just a sample of some of my best work. And let me show you the one I have been commissioned for, the most recent one. It's just got to apply a nice coat of varnish to it for the, you know, nice protective layer, final layer. This is a painting of Christ that I was commissioned to do. It's gold paint. Williamsburg, Gamblin, Sennelier. And I have other brands of paint, but those are the main ones. Those are really good brands for paint. I like Gamblin because it's non-toxic. Williamsburg is super rich and buttery, and they have really nice earth tones. Sennelier is just one of the best paint brands overall. The headquarters is stationed right in front of the Louvre in Paris, which I've never been there, but I'd love to go there. I would love to go there someday, maybe if it, you know, but we'll see. And here's a painting of my favorite writer, John Steinbeck. Here's John Steinbeck, watercolor and charcoal on paper. First, and I've gotten a few commissions since live streaming. It's a great way for me to get my art out there as well. I mean, that's not why I started this channel or became more serious with it. But I decided to incorporate the things I love to do because we're more than our addictions. And the reason why, again, I've said this like a million times on my channel, but when people ask me like, why are you doing this, blah, blah, blah. It's because when I was when I was in the early stages of recovery, I was watching a lot of recovery content. I was trying to learn about how dopamine in the brain works, how to revert my receptors to normal levels. And it was really helpful. And I'd read the comments, as I always do, and a lot of people said, we need more content like this. So I decided that I'm gonna try to contribute because I can, because I've been through it, because I was a heroin addict for 6 years. And a lot of people find this helpful. A lot of people do. You might not believe me, but I do get DMs from people telling me, thank you, this is actually very helpful. And actually, for one of my streams, I should collect a whole bunch of these comments, these really nice comments, thanking me for this content, and share it with you guys, to show you guys how helpful this is for people, to share your story, let people know that they're not alone. Anyway, I want to show you guys this too. I cook, I do my art stuff, I talk about other things, video games. I would do more video game stuff if I had better components for my laptop though. I have a gaming laptop and I need a graphics card. I can hardly play without the glitch, without trying to stream it now. So I gotta uninstall games, and it's annoying. There's certain games I just can't play unless I have a better graphics card. Having trouble with that Spider-Man game I'm playing. And this other one, Uncharted. I was having so much fun with that game, Uncharted, and there's this one scene, but it's a common glitch they have, where on level 2, when you're trying to escape through the prison bar windows, they just don't open. They tell you to just, tap Y, keep tapping Y when you get to that point. You do that, and I do that, and it just won't work. So I Googled it. A common glitch. Try this little tweak, that little tweak. Try approaching the window from the far left or the far right, not the center. What was another one? Try switching the button that you tap to a different button, like the left mouse click. Tried that. I tried lowering the resolution, everything, and it still won't work. That's annoying. I don't know if that has anything to do with the graphics card. That's just a common issue they have, which they need to fix. So I looked it up again, and on Reddit, on the Steam, in the Steam message board, people are complaining about this very issue, and that was from 2023. 3 years ago, people were complaining about this, and it's still an issue. It's so annoying. My brother recommended this game to me. How come he's not having any issues? I am. I don't know. But anyway, guys, I got something. Can you guess what it is? Oh, can you guess what it is? Been wanting to try this for a while. Hello. Yeah, Steinbeck's my favorite writer. My favorite book is East of Eden. And I liked Tortilla Flat and Cannery Row. How much is an acrylic painting that size? Man, I don't even have acrylic paint, just so you know. I'd have to buy more paint. That would be pretty expensive. An acrylic painting of that size, the thing is, that's not my medium of choice. And I'd be willing to do that. I have painted in acrylics, actually watercolor is the first thing I painted with, first medium I painted with, but acrylic painting. Yeah, I can do that, but I'd have to buy a whole bundle of stuff. I'd have to buy some retarder. It's a medium you apply to acrylic paint to to expand the flow of it, you know, because it dries really fast, and especially in the sun. You need a water bottle that you spray on it so it doesn't dry too fast. Um, and some acrylic gel medium, and a whole bunch of, and just my standard paints that I'd need, like titanium white or ultramarine blue, stuff like that. Oh gosh, definitely not as expensive as oil paint, because acrylic paints isn't as expensive. More expensive than a watercolor. So for that size, so since that size of oil painting would be around 700, I would say, 500. It sounds about right to me. I don't know, I've been told I need, oh, they already gave me a nice bamboo spoon. I didn't have to buy that. It's a cool, nicer looking one. It's nice and dark. But yeah, you know, watercolors. I like doing watercolors a lot because they're, you know, clean. You know, it's easy to clean up, easy to transport, you don't carry around, and it's cheaper. People can afford it a lot more. But yeah, I can pretty much do any of those mediums if you'd like. Ooh. Can you guess what we're doing? Guys, I've been wanting to try this for a long time, and I found out through a Joe Rogan clip that you can actually purchase this stuff. So that's it. Yeah, this seems to be good quality, guys. This is such a nice wooden little. In fact, when I run out, I want to keep that. That's such a nice little jar right there. It just seems like such good quality. I'll keep this as packaging material. I like to keep this, save this stuff. In fact, you know, you could probably do something artistic with this. I don't know. It's kind of cool. Collage work or something. So, how to enjoy Mad Honey. Been wanting to try this forever, guys. Start small, 1 teaspoon. Yeah, I mean, this seems legit, guys. I looked up the best quality Mad Honey. In fact, I was looking at this before that result came up. I'm like, okay, confirmed. I'm gonna buy this, you know. As soon as I saw that was like the highest rated one, and it was the one I was already looking at. Start small, 1 teaspoon. Wild honey varies. Your first taste should always be a small one. Wait 45 to 60 minutes, so we'll see, guys. You'll get to notice any changes. All right, and we're gonna try to be self-aware so that we know it's not placebo. Effects begin around 45 to 60 minutes and last roughly 3 hours. Don't stack doses. Give it time before considering more. Set the scene. Best enjoyed in a calm setting on an empty or light stomach. An evening wind down, not a busy afternoon. Well, it's 90 degrees, guys. I'm not going to be that busy today. Wish I had some cream of wheat, though. Anywho. Mad Honey. Never tried this stuff. Been wanting to try it for a long time. Yeah, so Joe Rogan let someone on his show try some and gave him a tiny teaspoon. This might be legit, guys. Look how beautiful that jar is. All right. I'm almost shaking because I'm so excited. I'm gonna suck if I accidentally dump that. Okay, well now I gotta lick that. That's like the best part. I gotta lick it. That's not a teaspoon right there. Yeah, it's probably like a quarter of a teaspoon right there. It's delicious. Tastes like, mmm. Doesn't taste like your usual honey, actually. It has more of a tangy kind of taste to it. And I like that. Can't waste a single morsel. All right. So, a little bit of the spoon. Not the whole teaspoon, since we just had that. Okay, that seems about right to me. Don't want too much. There we go. I'm a small girl. Okay. Delicious. I better, if this makes me feel really, really good, I better not tell anyone about it, because they'll try to get more, and sorry, I'm selfish. I might let someone try it. Let my brother try it. Or my dad. I thought it was extra money for the spoon. Didn't know they'd include that because I didn't pay extra for this. It's a beautiful spoon though. Apparently, metal disrupts whatever compounds you have in that honey, I think. For some reason, you have to use a bamboo spoon with it. I don't know. I could look it up just to see why that is, because I am kind of curious. Oh, thank you. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's honey. It's honey. And Joe Rogan was doing it on his podcast. So there's that. There's that. It's probably good for you. Shit, but you don't want to overdo it, man. You don't want to be a glutton, because that could probably hurt you. It seems more of a medicinal thing to me. It doesn't seem like something that people are going to get stupid over or wreck their health with, you know? But we'll see how it makes me feel in the next hour, yeah? In just a little under an hour, it should take effect. It is 3:06 right now, Pacific Standard Time. Let me look this up. Come here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what was my question? Why eat mad honey with a bamboo spoon? Why eat mad honey with a bamboo spoon? Using a bamboo wooden spoon for mad honey, and honey in general. Yeah, I do notice that people, when they have a honey jar, they'll use a wooden spoon. I like those striated, round, whatchamacallit, spoons. It's not a spoon, but you know what I mean, that you have with honey. It's like just like a round, striated little bulb at the I don't know. Using a bamboo or wooden spoon for mad honey and honey in general is primarily a mix of tradition, okay, mindful dosing rituals, okay, and avoiding mild chemical reactivity. That's what I was thinking, chemical reactivity, rather than any instant destruction of nutrients. So, non-reactive material honey is naturally acidic, while brief contact with a stainless steel spoon is harmless. Prolonged contact with reactive metals like iron, copper, or aluminum can corrode the metal and alter the taste. Bamboo is completely neutral. Okay. Well, so I guess it's not like completely essential. It's not like I'm going to keep it on the spoon forever, but still. probably feels a lot better, you know, with the bamboo spoon. Better tasting experience. Man. Anywho, looks good. What? Excuse me. Itchy nose. Hey, buddy, I know. We got the fan going. Does this hurt the bees? This is some rare ass honey from the high mountains of the Himalayas. I don't think so, but I could look it up. I had a ketamine therapy session today, and it was an interesting experience, and I hope it works out for me. I hope that works out for you too, man. And I'm curious to know what you think of it later on. Absolutely. New haircut looks beautiful. Thank you, Philip. Oh yeah, the hallucinogenic one. That's it. What's it called? Mad Honey. It's called Mad Honey. I don't know how hallucinogenic it's actually gonna be, but when I've seen people use it, it doesn't seem to hurt anybody. You know, it's seems more like a medicinal thing. You know, might even be good for depression. I don't know. We'll see. This is not like fucking, hey man, we're not doing cocaine and heroin here. It's ridiculous for people to act like we're doing hard drugs and shit. It's stupid. And they're probably just trying to, you know, like people will, especially if they see me wearing a Trump shirt. They're gonna try to make, you know, turn people away from me and make me seem less credible. It's stupid. Shando, wanna go? Shando wants to go frolic in the fields. All right. Not only that, but we were talking about this very subject, Mad Honey, on one of my other, like, earlier live streams. It was recommended to me, too. You know? So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people who have their feet planted on the, you know, flat on the ground, and their heads screwed on straight, you know, to say that this is good stuff. So that's, yeah. Read more about it. It's just, it's pretty interesting. Let me show you. Mad Honey. So, Mad Honey is a rare reddish amber honey, and I got this on sale. Mad Honey is a rare, let me put you guys over here for a minute, sorry. Rare reddish amber honey containing natural grain toxins from high altitude rhododendron flowers. Oh, that's the flower of Oregon. Sourced mainly in Nepal and Turkey and known for causing dizziness, euphoria, and hallucinations. It is gathered by giant cliff bees and carries a high risk of poisoning if misused, so be careful. Be careful. Yeah. I only had 1 teaspoon. Found primarily in the rugged Himalayan cliffs of Nepal and the Black Sea region of Turkey. The bees, produced by Apis laboriosa, labor in Latin, labora in Latin is work. I don't know what iosa means. The world's largest honey bee species. Oh wow, it's the world's largest honey bee species. Nested deep on steep mountain cliffs. Nesting high on steep mountain cliffs. Sorry, I need my reading glasses. Indigenous groups like Nepal's Gurung people practice dangerous traditional cliff climbing honey hunts to harvest it. Source of toxicity. That's why it's expensive. It's rare. Source of toxicity. Bees feed on the nectar of specific rhododendron flowers containing grain toxins. Specific rhododendron flowers. So probably not the ones from Oregon, even though that is the flower of our state. Sorry, I do need to stop vaping. Effects and medical risks. Intoxication, small amounts induce dizziness, relaxation, lightheadedness, and vivid hallucinations. Oh boy. Overdose symptoms. Excessive consumption causes severe nausea, vomiting, low blood pressure, hypotension, slow heart rate, and irregular heart rhythm, so be careful. Just a little, yeah. Be careful if you're ever going to do this. Traditional use, historically used in tiny doses as a folk medicine for hypertension. Okay, traditional use. Historically used in tiny doses as a folk medicine for hypertension, gastrointestinal discomfort, and an aphrodisiac. And they have a video here. I don't know if I can show it to you. It's a documentary. They have a documentary here that's 20 minutes long called Nepal's Mad Honey That Causes Hallucinations. And it's got 88 million views on YouTube. Let's just see. I don't want to get copyrighted, but I'll share the name of the video because this looks super interesting. In fact, I'm going to watch this. This looks like a really good quality video. I mean, let me just show you a tiny bit of it without sound. You see that? Look at that. It's crazy. Or we're not gonna play it though. Actually, I don't wanna. Ruhsinet documentaries. RUHICENET documentaries. So this looks really interesting. Here's another clip of some guy harvesting mad honey. Let me see. It's been like 5 minutes now. Interesting. Hey, greetings. Not that you need it, but love the makeup today as well. Oh, thank you, Finesse. I did a little more extra with that, I guess. You know, I used my favorite makeup palette, or my favorite eyeshadow palette today. It's the 90s palette. Honey and porridge. Yo, I should put that in my porridge, but I'm worried that the hot porridge might disrupt the compounds of the honey. I'm not sure. It's a supplement. I did eat some, and there's no way I'm having more, guys. I don't want to get sick. See, you can only have a small amount, because 1 teaspoon, because then you might get nauseous, you get sick. They warn you. Don't take any more than just 1 teaspoon if you're going to have any. So yeah, this should last me a long time. How many servings are in here? Doesn't say. Okay. Best if used before January 2029. Okay. Man, 2029, I'm gonna be 38 years old. 38, I'll almost be 40 by that time. Is this a recording? No, this is a live stream. If you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you, bud. I've gotten some that they sold in a kratom shop near me. Oh, really? It made me feel a little warm, but nothing like any real drug. Well, that's good, because that's what I'm looking for, you know? I mean, maybe when I was younger, I'd be looking for something like that, but I'm getting too old for that type of, like, extreme, you know, raises your blood pressure, it seems, you know, like, last time I did shrooms, I realized that I'm getting too old for this shit, man. It doesn't feel as good as it used to. Or maybe it's just a strain of shrooms I got or something. Maybe it was just the batch. It could have been that, you know, but it was just, yeah, it just didn't feel that good. Microdosing on that, by the way, I've heard is really good. It can be good. Not good for everybody, I don't think. I honestly don't think it's for everybody. But it can be good for certain people who are recovering from opioid addiction, apparently. Microdosing on that can help with depression, anxiety, and all that. But it's not for everybody. We all have different constitutions and how we put up with things. Yep, never tried it. Does it actually have effect? This is the first time I've tried it. I just got it today. You have to have 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. Don't get sick. Don't fuck yourself up. Don't make yourself, regret it. But yeah, 1 small teaspoon. It's the first time trying it. I just had a little teaspoon about what time was it? It was like 3:06 or 3:07, so about 10 minutes ago. It should take effect in about an hour. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. So overdose symptoms, if you're to overdose on this stuff, excessive consumption causes severe nausea, vomiting, low blood pressure, slow heart rate, okay, and irregular heart rhythms. So yeah, don't overdo it. Historically used in tiny doses as a folk medicine for hypertension, gastrointestinal discomfort, and as an aphrodisiac, yeah. So what does mad honey do to the body? AI overview. Mad honey causes intoxication, lightheadedness, and changes in blood pressure because it contains a strong nerve poison called grayotoxin from certain flowers, certain rhododendrons. Eating small amounts can make a person feel dizzy, warm, and slightly high, but eating too much causes severe illness. So, yeah, don't overdo it. So physical effects, low blood pressure. This might actually be good for my dad. He has high blood pressure. I might let him try a little bit. Hypotension. So my dad has hypertension. Hypo meaning low. Do you guys ever watch Chubby Emu? That's where I learned these things. The toxin makes your blood pressure drop fast. Slow heartbeat. Your heart rate can slow down a lot. Stomach upset. You may feel sick, throw up, or have heavy sweating. Dizziness and weakness. Standing or walking can become very hard. Well, that doesn't sound fun. But yeah, that's if you... Sounds like you'd be, that's if you take too much. Mind and sense effects. Lightheadedness. A floating or woozy feeling in the head. Sounds like when I smoke weed. Tingling or burning. A strange prickling feeling in the mouth and throat. Hallucinations in higher doses. Okay, don't do that. It can distort what you see or hear. Yeah, that doesn't sound good to me, actually. I don't know, maybe when I was younger I would have had a different perception of that, but yeah, no thank you. I'm kind of curious about its slight, more gentler effects if you take the right amount. Also, we're not wasting this. It's kind of expensive. I did get it on sale, though. You've had mad honey before, Robert? You're looking? Well, from what I've seen, and I did a lot of, looking into this and a lot of research, it doesn't seem gimmicky to me. But we'll see how it makes me feel, and I'll let you guys know. I'm very honest, We're here, we're live. And the reason why I decided to go through with it was not only is this is like the best quality apparently from what I researched. And it was on sale, and it was after watching a clip from one of Joe Rogan's podcasts where he lets one of his guests try it, and it just looked really exciting. I'm just kind of like, maybe I could do this and do it on my live stream. Run a little experiment with people. In fact, while we wait for that to take effect, why don't we work on applying varnish to my painting here? Yeah. All we need is the varnish and a brush. So there. Let's see. Okay. Got our varnish over here painting. We need a good brush. Nice kind of big brush. Okay, that's two. Those are my small brushes. Okay. Oh, yeah, perfect. That's well. Actually, that brush needs to be cleaned. Hi there. Okay, that's a good brush for that. Take this over to the table. Oh, excuse me, Shando. Oh, you're so big. Okay, got our varnish. Sorry, guys. We'll go to the table and apply that. I'm not sure exactly how long it takes varnish to dry because it's been so long since I've applied varnish to an oil painting. I haven't gotten an oil painting commission in a little bit. Get a lot of watercolors. Yeah, I'm liking how that's turned out. Oh, I love how that's turned out. I really love the roughness around the halo too, you know? Makes it look like it's kind of moving, you know? Yeah, there's our painting of Christ. I'm going to put some newspaper on this table. Great, it's covered in cat mess. Of course. All right, oh, here we go. I'm gonna apply some varnish to this painting. Make myself a little more coffee. Okay. Put you guys over here so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Yeah. Like that this stand has a little hook. I can attach it to the lid of my art box here like that. Okay, let me just make sure that's completely, wipe that down, make sure it's completely, like there's no hair or anything sticking to it. I love how the thorns turned out. These textures are good. Hands look great. Excellent. I'm really glad I didn't overdo the face or anything like that. No, the eyes are good. I'm glad I managed to capture compassion and kind of a understanding in Christ's countenance. Okay, let's see. So we're gonna just apply some varnish here. No, we're not gonna huff it. It's just gross. I never did anything like that, man. Never have huffed glue or anything like that. It just sounds so nasty. And I've heard you can go brain dead from that kind of thing. But you know, heroin's probably not much better. Terrible. Oh yeah, it's gonna make it really vibrant. Like the colors are gonna be so vibrant under this medium. This is to protect the painting and give it more vibrancy and almost it's gonna kind of make it look a little more three-dimensional even. Gotta wait for it to dry completely, so that's what we did. I think that might be enough. A little bit on the sides there. Okay, so I should, oh yeah, I just do that. Should have my palette or something, but oh, I have an idea. I could just use one of my little watercolor palettes, but yeah, I'll do that. I'm so excited about this that I'm a little bit shaky. My hair's a little. All right, let's see. Oh, we don't want to do it if it's dirty. You know what? I think we're fine. Oh no, actually, I'll pour a little bit into the lid. Perfect. We'll do that. You need to go out there, buddy? Of course. One sec, guys. Gotta let my doggy out. Alright. You to go out? Because I'm not going to stand here very long, but I don't want cats getting on my painting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time I paint, I do that. Such a bit of an attention whore, that Shanda. Anytime he sees me painting, he's like, tricks me. Tricks me into giving him attention. Honey bear, such a good boy. Don't worry. At the bottom here, nice protective coat there. I added a little extra to the top there. Kind of in a crisscross motion. Nice and even and stable. Right. It's gonna look beautiful. Nice and evenly just spread out here. What you doing, buddy? Okay. All right. So, I saw those little tiny air bubbles as I'm laying it down. I'm like, oh, I sure hope those bubbles pop. And what do you know? They did. So we're good. There's a button. Glad I didn't have to buy more of this stuff. Glad I found it. Because I barely used any of it. Looks like it actually spilled at one point because I barely used any of it. Okay, let's wash my hands. I'll be right back. In fact, while I do that, you guys can take a look at my work. All right. Yeah. Put it right there like so. Okay, be right back. Okay, so really happy with how this commission turned out. Okay, put my leave this here for minutes. Might want to wash that paintbrush in a sec. Let's put this away. Put it somewhere where it can dry nicely and no cat hair can fall on it. That would suck ass. I think it's gotta kind of put it on its back though. There we go. Okay. I'm pretty safe right there. Hey, baby. Hi, buddy. Hi, sweetheart. Sorry. Mute. How's everyone doing today? Thank you. I'm glad you guys like it. Put this stuff away. Actually, I don't want to throw all of this in there. Just the... Okay, this is fine. I use that for protecting the table. Okay, guys, okay, one sec. We're gonna put this away. I gotta use the restroom real quick, and I'll wash my paintbrush while I'm at it, so. Okay, let's put you guys, what time is it now? 3:34, holy shit, guys, we're getting to the verdict pretty quick here. Varnish somewhere where I know where it is now. Can't wait until my client receives this painting. That's the part that makes me almost like the most nervous. Hoping that they don't like lose the package or something, you know, that would suck so much ass. So far, it hasn't happened. I've sold like 3 paintings or so. No, actually, I've sold 2, and they've all arrived in good condition. I'll be right back. Yo, this is Ali G. What's up? Yeah, that varnish is supposed to make the painting more vibrant. In fact, it protects the painting most of all. So let's see. Gamvar, this is Gamvar varnish. Saturates and gives greater depth to the colors in your painting and gives your work a unified and protective semi-gloss surface. Developed in collaboration with the National Gallery of Art, Gamvar goes on water clear, stays water clear, and can be easily and safely removed with Gamsol. Gamvar is virtually odorless and ready to apply. Brush apply, do not spray. Yeah. And the reason why I don't use it a lot is because I only use it for, I've been using it for commissions. Often if I'm just, painting just freely myself without any expectations, no commissions, sometimes I'm like, is it really finished, Or, that's like the final step. And that's with just about anything, pretty much. Sometimes I'll play a video game and I'll get to the final boss and I won't finish it because I don't want to be over with it, or a book. I'll neglect the final chapter sometimes, or, with an artwork, I won't do the final step unless there's like someone has commissioned it and there's a fire under my ass to get it to them, It's, there's always this weird, almost subconscious fear of, departure. It's like departure anxiety in a way. Gonna have to see more. Well, I'm not gonna show you that one right now because I don't want anything happening to it. In fact, I'm gonna put that up on my bunk bed, my painting here, because my dog is a little rough sometimes, and I don't want anything happening to this. Dropping it. Wouldn't that suck if I drop this? Okay, there we go. It should be now. Put this away too. I really need to clean up. Oh no. Mommy, laying right on my clothes. Oh, you can. Oh, it's okay. It's okay, honey. You can do that. I just want to pick this up here. It's okay. It's okay. You can lay down on my clothes. My dirty clothes bag. I do need to do laundry. Man, I miss my bunk bed as a kid. It ruled. I had a bunk bed as a kid. This isn't a bunk bed, though. It's got a frame. It's not two beds. It's one bed with a frame. It's just a frame around it, Which I like. It's not even my bed. But I like that frame because I can set canvases on top and keep them safe, I can't set too much on top of there. I mean, as you can see, I have a bunch of large paintings up there and a few watercolors and stuff, It's not much room in here to keep my art stuff, that's for sure. Where am I from? I'm from the Pacific Northwest of the USA. The new cut is super cute. Thank you, Julius. I remember when we were kids, again, guys, I told you I have eight siblings. When we were really little, I used to we had a wooden bunk bed, and we've had two bunk beds during my childhood. We had one metal one, painted white, and a wooden one. Well, I used to tie some makeshift hammocks to the bars of the uppermost bar of the bunk bed, like sheets, and I make it like a hammock, and we'd be swinging in those hammocks like monkeys. That was my idea. So there's actually a photo somewhere of us kids doing that. That was pretty cute. With that metal bunk bed, it was made with, just like these bars that were about yay thick. And one time I fell from the top, and there was no mattress on the bottom bunk. And I fell from the top right down onto one of those bars, my tailbone right onto one of those metal bars. And it hurt so bad that I actually remember that. I was really young too. I was probably around 7 years old. I was really young. And that was very painful. Yeah, that was so painful, man. That was one of the most painful things I experienced as a kid, honestly. Other than making my practically losing my virginity via injury at the park when I jumped off of a slide, the very top of one of those round tube slides, so it's kind of high up. I jumped from one of those places, and my heel landed right into my hoo-ha. And that wasn't fun, man. That hurt like a bitch. That literally hurt like a bitch. That was probably one of the most painful things I've dealt with. God, that was so bad. That was worse than that even. That was so bad, guys. I can't even tell you how painful that was. So, probably the equivalent of some guy getting, hit really hard in the balls. Really bad, man. It was really bad. Mad Honey. Oh my gosh. This jar of Mad Honey here is like $154. That's not the one I got. Yeah, some of them can get really expensive, guys, but see, the one I got was like $40. So and I got it I thought I got it on sale. But yeah, some of these are fucking expensive as hell, man. But from what I looked up, the one I chose, the cheaper one on this list, is gets really good reviews and was at the top of the list. Sorry, I got some itch in my nose. Okay. Let's see. Let me look up Best Mad Honey. Oh Lord. Yep. I scrolled and all I heard was heel and hoo-ha. What have I scrolled to? I was telling you guys about one of the most painful things I experienced when playing at the playground as a kid. And I was pretty rough and tumble, I was a tomboy. And one time I jumped off the slide and I landed in such a way so like I was like my knee was bent, like kind of like that, and my heel went right into my hoo-ha and it hurt like really bad. It was like, that was really painful, man. So painful. I remember it, and I was in elementary school when that happened a long time ago. So let's see, Best Mad Honey brand. Yeah. These get really expensive. If I really like this stuff, maybe if I'm, one of these days when I make a little more money, I'll get some of the, like, top tier, because it looks like, yeah, it's, really expensive. Number one pick. What is their number one pick here? Yeah, look at that. Mine is the number one pick here. Number one. 9.4 out of 10. So Real Mad Honey is, and I'm not sponsoring it, by the way. Let's just throw that out there. Real Mad Honey is the brand I'd recommend to a friend, full stop. It does the most boring thing in this category, and that's a compliment. While other brands lean on mythology and a limited reserve language, RMH publishes the one thing that actually matters, a third-party lab report for every batch measuring Grain toxin concentration. None of the other brands in our tests do this. Sourced direct from named honey hunters above 3,500 meters in Nepal, with a founder documentary you can watch. Panel felt a clear, repeatable effect within 30 minutes the first night. Yeah, I feel relaxed. I actually feel really relaxed. And that's what I need. I'm not looking for something to make me super high or make me start hallucinating a ton, that doesn't sound like it's good for you. You don't want to overdo this shit. But seems to be giving me some relaxation, which I like. I definitely feel a nice relaxing kind of warm effect, it's very nice. That's what I need. I've got really bad anxiety, guys. I've been looking for anything that can help. I've even tried SSRIs, but they didn't work out. I didn't like them, especially since I can't really, it doesn't seem to be working, number one. There's no, it's working now, I can feel normal. But with SSRIs, you can't necessarily experiment with things like methylene blue or valerian root or other things without getting, you know, the risk of serotonin syndrome. So I stopped doing those. I was doing Wellbutrin for a minute and like for a few months or so. Well, a long time actually. It wasn't that long. Not a year, but like several months. It didn't work out for me, so I didn't stop doing that. Um, I've tried improving my diet, exercising. Now that stuff does help. Exercise and diet does help me, but my anxiety is still there. I'm still an anxious person. So I don't know. This stuff seems really nice. Don't think it's placebo. I definitely feel an effect. It's positive. It's relaxing. Mushrooms I have before, yeah. Yeah, I've tried mushrooms. I have nothing against mushrooms. I've tried a couple different SSRIs for my anxiety. I just don't want to be on pills. I found diet and exercise really helps. Yep, same. Diet and exercise helped a lot more than the pills, in my opinion, or the SSRIs. And for methylene blue's pretty good. I've taken that, and that seems to be helpful sometimes. Tried meditation, yeah, especially early on in my recovery. I did a whole lot of meditation. And Shando was just a little puppy at the time. He'd just curl up in my lap at the park while I meditated, or he'd be playing in the dog park, and I'd be meditating, sort of semi-meditating, because I have to keep my eye on him, make sure no other dog bites him or something. It's happened before. Every single dog that has bit Shando, I'm sorry to say, has been a pit bull. And he's been bitten 5 times. All pit bulls. So, and the thing is, it's not like I blame the pit bull per se. I blame the owner, because the owners are usually really shitty people, I've noticed, or just irresponsible. Like, I took him to the dog park one time, and some dude was just standing there with his, looking at his phone, and I hear this yelp from behind me, and I turn around, and I see Shando's just like limping, and I look, and he got bitten right on the hindquarters by this pit bull, and we were the only ones in the park, by the way, at that time, and the guy's just standing there like, doesn't do anything, doesn't say anything, no rushing over to see like what his dog's done or whatever, nothing, just stood there like his dog didn't just bite my dog on the hindquarters. Another time was when someone at work brought their pit bull, which was known for fighting with other dogs and making people leave the cafe, for that matter. But this dog, Shando, was like 1.5 years, and he was sniffing something like on the back patio. And this pit bull comes over and just like, and I didn't see anything on Shannon's face, so I thought it was okay. I'm like, I thought he was just scared. But then I looked, and there was like a little bit of blood oozing out right beneath his eye socket. So he could have lost an eye there. Then there was a time I went on a date, and we went to his place, and we started with a hike, and Shando was with me. This guy had his 2 pit bulls. He had 2 gray pit bulls, very kind of small. So, fortunately there wasn't any damage there really, because Shando's such a big boy. But it still attacked Shando once we got to their place, and he's like, oh, this is the first time this has ever happened, which is what they all say. And that kind of wrecked the vibe of the whole day. Like, I tried to act like everything was normal, like everything's fine, it's okay, but there was just this weird, awkward silence, and he ghosted me after that, which, yeah, that's fine. I probably would have ghosted him too. Anyway, so, then there was the most recent time was when it was the worst, actually. Shando actually could have gotten hurt real bad. Fortunately, it wasn't a huge pit bull. But we were walking down the street to the train, and some medium-sized pit bull, this is the only incident where I had to call the cops. Some renegade pit bull comes charging at us, about medium-sized gray, and it's just like attacking us. Shando's leaning up against me like this huge baby, and it bites a little tiny superficial chunk out of his chin. And so I'm like screaming, "Get your dog, get your dog, get your dog, get your dog." And like no one's coming out, no one. And then finally some dude comes out of his house, no relation to these dogs. He's not the owner. He comes out, and that one dog runs towards this other dog, which is just running rampant. He did that. It's a more of a brownish red dog. It didn't attack Shando and I, but they just running rampant down the street, up and down the street. And the guy says, well, he asked me if I'm okay, like, not like, like he's all that cares all that much. And I'm like, someone could get hurt, man. Someone's dog, someone's smaller dog could get killed. Some child could get mauled, man. Like, I don't want to be the one to call. He said, this has been oh yeah, they were running rampant up and down throughout the neighborhood without their owner since yesterday. I'm like, he said it so lackadaisically, and I said, yo, I don't want to be the one to do it. I hate to be the one to do this, but I'm gonna call the cops. If no one else does, I'm gonna do it. So I did. I promptly called the cops, and I had to send them a photo of Shando's wound. And I shared all the details, what street it was on, blah, blah, blah. And I was on my way. I was on the train while sharing all this information. I didn't want to be anywhere near that area. In fact, just an hour prior to that attack, I was walking the neighbor's dogs. And one of those dogs is an old boy with hip problems. And the other one's a tiny little dog. Could have gotten hurt real bad. Well, you're a fucking A, man. So, I share all this information. They call me back and they thank me. They tell me that the dogs are contained and that this hasn't just been an issue since yesterday. This has been a reoccurring issue with these owners being irresponsible and letting their dogs run rampant for like months, off and on. Like, I'm not the first one to complain, but apparently I don't know. Maybe somehow they managed to get their dogs into the house or under control those other instances, but they're nowhere around this time. And so their dogs could very well end up killing somebody, some small child or some small dog or cat or whatever. You got a lot of cats who are allowed to run around outside. And so, yeah, I mean, that was really scary, man. Shando's a big boy, but he's not he'll you know what? He'll definitely bite your head off if you try to attack me and you're like a person. But out of nowhere, when that dog came to attack us, Shando didn't know what to do. I've had it where some weirdo came walking up to me when I was downtown sitting at a table with my friend, and he's just like persistent. I'm being too nice. I'm saying, hey man, you're kind of making my dog nervous, because he's like, my dog's like, he's like really, really fierce, baring teeth and everything, getting ready to maul this guy if he tries anything. So when it comes to people, Shando's not gonna put up with shit. But if we get attacked by a pit bull, even a chihuahua, like Shando once got bitten on the nose by a little chihuahua. That was the one other dog that wasn't a pit bull that attacked him, and that was when he was a little puppy. Shando was like, he was so small I carried him, And we were at a meeting, and someone brought their little chihuahua, and it bit him right on the nose and wouldn't let go. And you know how many nerve endings are on a dog's nose? A lot. And it hurt him. He was screaming. My dog was squealing in pain. And I think he knows what I'm talking about, guys. Look at him. Look at him. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This little apple-shaped head is just innocent and sweet. Oh my goodness. Dog fights are violent. Getting in the middle can be bad. Been there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the scariest incident with that pit bull that charged at us. Because if I didn't have Shanda with me, probably, it may have hurt me really badly. Or maybe it charged at us because it wanted to state its dominance around my dog. I don't know. Shando's a big boy, but people can also tell, or no, not people, other dogs can tell that Shando's a gentle soul. Shando's a gentle soul, but Shando will get violent if he has to. If like some weirdo comes charging at me like a person, yeah, he's not gonna, you're gonna be sorry if you're the perpetrator. What kind of dogs is he? Shando has 5 different breeds in him. He's got, mostly from most to least, he's got Golden Retriever, Boxer, Rottweiler, American Pit Bull Terrier, and Mastiff. Trauma and personalities, dogs have them just like us. So I believe it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Shando has some form of PTSD or shell shock from the 4th of July fireworks. And there are times when he just refuses to go for a walk with me. Now, granted, it is really hot out, so that kind of excuses us to just, take it easy here. But it's, yeah, I mean, I gave him a little bit of valerian root this morning so that, just in case, so we can do that, hopefully. Just a short walk. He needs exercise. Big dogs with joints, like that, joints that tend to get a little achy. They need their exercise. We need movement. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, if I don't exercise enough, my joints start to ache. And I start to feel like I got run over by a bus every morning. I hate that. Yeah. Florida, it's so hot for dogs and walking them. Yeah, it's like 90 degrees here, so. How old is my dog? He's 3. He's 3.5 years old. Yeah, he turned 3 February 8th. When it gets really hot over here, my dog doesn't even like to walk. Yeah, but that's not the reason why he's not. Even when it was a nice 70 degrees, this month, around, the time like after the 4th, not even like 20 days after, some bozo set off a few more fireworks, which, he was about to go out with me. And then he's just like, nah, don't trust it anymore. No, I hate it when people do that. I really do. I mean, if it not for my dog, I wouldn't give a shit. But it's just, not very considerate, man. It really does terrify some animals. I'll be right back. Be right back. Sorry about that. I'm back. A dinosaur story. Why do I say that? There's a difference between coming, someone's live and being rude and being a simp douche. Yeah, I mean, you got a whole bunch of characters here in the chat, you know. Trolls will be there regardless, you know, especially, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Is it kind of 50-50, or do women get more harassed by trolls on a live stream than men do? Because I've been on men's live streams and people do seem a little nicer. It just seems that way. There's this one live streamer I really like. He's called Sailor Pirate, and he pretty much lives on a sailboat, which is like, that would be my dream. My best friend Adrian lived on a sailboat for 5 years during the 90s. Told me he had a cat named Willie who'd go fish with his tail. Said it was the best 5 years of his life. But unfortunately, he got busted because he had some drugs on that boat. Too bad, dude. Like, man, if he never got into drugs at 26, his life could have just been so blissful. He'd be alive now. You know, he was a graphic artist, copyright proofreader, fine arts printmaker, teacher, professor, a whole, you know, very bright guy. You know, like, he was very smart. Just get my charger because my phone's about to die here. Sorry. Phone's about to die. Excuse me. Yeah, there's nothing strange about me. People expect a cookie cutter version of certain folks, you know? Because they're chronically online. All they do is watch corn, you know? They don't like personality. Or, you know, they prefer whatever they expect from people, you know, rather than meeting people who are different or a little, you know, not so conventional, people who actually prefer to be themselves rather than fitting into a mold. I'm glad I was homeschooled, you know? And one of the reasons for why I was homeschooled wasn't just because I was raised Catholic and my mom, you know, didn't want me to. That was part of it. But one reason was because I was raised on good books, real literature. I have a pretty good education, except that I'm not good at math, and my mom wasn't good at math. So we should have had a math tutor or something at some point, but I don't know if we could have afforded it back then. However, I'm still glad I was homeschooled. Learn not to, you know, be shallow and only hang with the cool crowd, you know. Don't care about fads unless they can make me rich. I look like Peter Parker. Okay. It's 90 degrees out, dude. You don't know my life. For all you know, I could have been out there and just came in here to settle down. You don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know what I'm doing all day. I've just completed a commission officially. I've just applied the protective layer of varnish to that painting. I'm doing, you know, I'm being relatively productive for a 90-degree day. Yeah, ignorant cunt. Your skin says you have... That's ridiculous. I've always been pale. Alright. I know some people are freaked out by pale skin, but I've always been pale. I've been paler than this. You know, in the winter time, I'm pasty as fuck. I am so pale in the summertime. Can you go potty, Shando? Okay, one sec, guys. Okay, I'll bring you with me, but actually, yeah, I'll bring you with me. Bring you with me. His phone's about to die, though. Okay, buddy. Need my help? Yeah, good boy. Okay. You go potty, hun? Okay, you big goofy. Come on. Well? Well, honey bear? He's surveying his surroundings. That's how he is, man. He's a little, scared of the outdoors now, which is so ridiculous, man. You know what? I've taken him everywhere with me since he was a puppy. You know, take him into town. He loves the train, you know? Loves getting on the train with me. He loves meeting people and other dogs. He's very socialized, you know? But ever since the 4th of July, you know, it seems to make him more and more afraid. So, trying to figure out, maybe through positive reinforcement, giving him treats outside, and if he gets afraid of something, not letting him in right away, just letting, you know, chilling myself, letting him know it's all normal, Shando, noises happen. I don't know, but I'm gonna do a little more deeper research on this, because nothing I'm doing right now is helping. Well, buddy, I mean, I even tried, you know, offering him a piece of pork and luring him out that way. And he realized I was trying to trick him. He wasn't interested in the pork anymore. He's smart. Very smart. A little too smart, aren't you, buddy? Shooby-doo. Shooby-doo. Okay. Remember when Nikocado Avocado said that to his bird? Shooby-doo. Shooby-doo. You are the ants. I'm kidding. I don't know if you guys have seen that. The dog was completely frozen. I'll bet he wants to be carried. And there's just no way. The dog weighs almost as much as I do. That's just, or just as much. So no, that, I wish. If I could carry Shando, it'd make bath time a lot easier. Tell you what. You know, when we had a pug who was stubborn and didn't like going for walks, you know, when I was a kid, he passed away when I was 17, you know, but when he was young and able-bodied, I had to carry him. Oh, thank you for the star, Kosar. Yeah, I had to carry Shando out of eyesight of the house. And not Shando, Mason, the pug we had. In fact, I have a photo of him right here. Let me make sure there's no address on this thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah. There's Mason, the pug. This is from a disciplinary clinic for dogs. That's where this card comes from. It says, my hobbies and interests. I like to snuggle and be a couch potato. They spelled potato wrong. Anyway, they spelled it with an E at the end. It's just one potato. I am very good at both. I enjoy being with my family and getting to go where they go. Okay, well, you know what? When was he born? 1996. 1996, so I was 5 years old when we got him. Wow. Yeah. I remember that, though, like it was yesterday. Very clear memory. And I remember the dog we had before him. We had a black Labrador. He was a good boy. I remember our last trip with him was to Fossil, Oregon, and I remember we had this big, he had a huge barrel of Tang that we drink while we were there. And I remember my mom saying that our dog here, his name was Shaq, is like allergic to himself or something. And it wasn't long after that that he was put down. And I remember I was sleeping on the floor in the corner, really sad, because that was like where I'd sleep with that dog. I'd lay with him in the sun. And someone woke me up really, really early in the morning. I remember it being dark outside still and saying, hey, we're going to go get a dog. We're going to go get a new dog. So we went over to this place. And this isn't something I do. I wouldn't buy a pug or adopt a pug from a breeder because, you know, that's kind of reinforcing that practice of breeding pugs in such a way so that they can hardly breathe. These dogs can barely breathe. They have eye problems. They have so many health issues. And actually, the main culprit behind these unhealthy dogs, like English bulldogs, did you know that 80% of English bulldogs have to be delivered via C-section because their heads are too big? 80% of English bulldogs have to be delivered via C-section rather than, you know. But yeah, the main culprit, I believe, is these dog shows where they have all these standards for perfection, you know, for the ideal shape, the ideal form that a dog's supposed to be at these shows. You know, the rounder a pug's cranium or whatever, you know, flatter the face, the tighter the tail, which is bad for their spine, by the way, the more points you get at these dog shows. So it's kind of fucked up. It's cruel to breed dogs like pugs. I agree. I don't think my parents knew any better, honestly. Back then, this is the 90s, guys. No one was thinking about that. Or at least my parents weren't. Regular people weren't. He was as big as a Beanie Baby when we first got him. So yeah, these dog shows, these dog competition shows are really, you know, what's to blame for all these dogs with health conditions now. Because before those shows, pugs had longer faces. What's to blame for pug's health issues? Oops. So pugs have they have so many issues. Shortened muzzle, brachycephaly, crowds soft tissues in the nose and throat, causing chronic upper airway collapse. Shallow eye sockets leaves the eyeball hyperexposed to trauma, scratches, and chronic drying. Excess facial skin creates deep, moist folds that trap bacteria and foster fungal or bacterial dermatitis. He had that. And he snored really loud too, man, that poor thing. I've heard that for pugs and dogs like that, like Persian cats too. Like breathing is like trying to breathe through a straw all the time. Yep. Deformed vertebrae, shortened curled tail. This is what I mentioned before. Shortened curled tail genetics correlate with malformed spinal bones. Yep. Hemivertebrae. Wow. That's sad. Yeah. It's all because people had to prioritize aesthetics over the poor dog's happiness and well-being. Let's see, what's it like for a pug Labrador Retriever. A pug's breathing is much harder and noisier than a Labrador Retriever's breathing because pugs have flat faces, duh. Labrador, okay. Pugs struggle to pull air through tight spaces. Okay. Short noses force soft tissues in the throat to crowd a tiny space. Small windpipes make every breath feel narrow and tight. Short palates block airflow when block airflow when the dog tries to rest or play. A pug at rest. This is what I heard, if I'm remembering correctly. A pug at rest, doing nothing. It's almost like it is like the same. It feels just as exhausted as a Labrador that's been running all day. You know, apparently. Doesn't surprise me. Anywho. Yeah. Pugs are cute, but I wouldn't adopt one. Unless it was at the pound. Unless it was at, like, the Humane Society where I got Shando. I got him at the Humane Society, and I had no idea he was going to get that big. Am I playing Skyrim today? I can, if you want me to. Actually, not right this minute, because I got to do a few things. But maybe later. Maybe later I'll have a little stream and we'll play that. Unfortunately, I can't do it with OBS Studio and do it the normal way because I need a better graphics card. It sucks. It's expensive. I gotta really invest in that. Hell, man. It can be like a couple $1,000 or something around there. It's ridiculous. I have an English Bulldog. He rocks and healthy. Well, that's good. You're probably a really good owner. You know, those dogs do tend to get health issues. And some of them are very similar to pugs, but they have other very specific issues. Yeah. Again, 80% of them have to be delivered via C-sections because their heads are so large. I didn't know that before. I looked it up. And even confirmed it. That's true. And there was one time, I hear they're the dumbest dog. I'm not saying your dog is dumb. He's probably a real sweetheart and a cutie pie. But you know how border collies, the sheep herding dogs, are the most intelligent? I mean, duh. You've seen how those dogs operate, man? They're smart. I've been around border collies. They're smart dogs. My friend had 3 of them when I was a kid. But English Bulldogs, I've heard, are the kind of the lowest IQ, unfortunately, and despite having such big heads. And which really has nothing to do with intelligence, by the way, brain size. It has more to do with brain to body ratio and the number of neurons. Like, in women's brains, the neurons are more compact. We have just as many neurons as our male counterparts, except that ours, women's, are way more compact, which is interesting, in my opinion. I mean, yeah. English Bulldogs, though. I was taking the train somewhere, and I saw some dude walking his English Bulldog. They're very iconic looking dogs. And this English Bulldog just suddenly sits right down on the pavement, right on his bum, right? And suddenly I see a puddle of piss emerge from out from under its bum. Like, that's how it's taking a piss, just sits flat on its ass, and I see a puddle emerge. I'm like, oh my gosh. that poor thing. American bullies are smart. What you do to your hair, girl? Hey, Hayes Prophet, I cut it. Cut it myself. Feels a lot better, and I think it looks better. I really I love it. It feels so much nicer. I like it a lot. This is how I've had my hair for like 80% of my life. It's what I prefer. It feels more authentic on me. It feels, I just feel more me, you know? Hope you're doing okay. Thank you. I'm doing good. Thank you for the gift, Howard. I love the laughing disco. Thank you. Yeah, some people are gonna not like it. Some people are gonna think that I should grow it, but I'm doing what I like to do, you know, what makes me feel good. You know, I like how it looks. I like how it feels. You know, I was at a point where I'm like, I can't take it anymore. And I even took a pair of scissors that's not ideal for cutting hair because I was that desperate to cut it off. You know, I had enough. I've had enough, especially in this hot, humid summertime. But yeah, this is what I like, and a lot of people say I look really good in it. A lot of people tell me I look like Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries or Winona Ryder, and I like those. Those are nice comparisons, you know. I like the way my hair is now. Looks pretty on you. Don't listen to the noise. Yeah. I mean, people can have an opinion. You know, he's not being mean about it or anything. Some people are kind of mean, but more people actually like it. More people, in fact, tell me that this hair looks really better on me. My best friend, a guy, told me that one time I cut my hair kind of short, really short. He said, you know, you should go shorter. And I don't do it because people tell me I should or that I would, you know, want me to or whatever. You know, I do what I want to do because it feels better. Feels better, looks better, lower maintenance, you know. I have a nice shaved head, I think. It's a nice round Hinterkopf. That's German for the back of your head. Word of the day, Hinterkopf. You take a lot of stick from people on here, and well, sometimes I'm, you know, sometimes I'm in the mood for it, sometimes I'm not. Or actually, I'm never really in the mood for it. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, there's some times when it's like block. I'm not putting up with this shit. And then there are times where I'm like, okay. Especially if it's someone who's been here for a while and they're familiar and, you know, I can tell they're just, you know, saying what they think. They're not necessarily being malicious about it. They're not bullying or anything like that. They're just saying, I preferred it before, you know. That's fine, you know. That's fine. They can have that opinion. I'm not going to block them for that, you know. But if people are going to say, you look like a little boy now, you know, that's kind of mean. And if I'm in a good mood, I might not block them for it. But, you know, it can pile on. But usually not. I don't get that with my haircut. People are usually really nice about it and tell me it looks great, usually. Some people aren't going to like it. Some people will. Some guys think that all women should have long hair. It's like, dude, no. Men can have their hair grow out long. What about, like I said yesterday, Jason Momoa, Asmongold, some of the most manly men you can think of have long hair. And this guy's reasoning last night was enough for me to fucking block him. He's like, he's gaslighting as well. He's pretending that, oh, it has nothing to do with your hair. My thing, like, you're overreacting. When I looked at his comment again, it was like, why would you do that? Like, what would you think if a guy decided to grow his hair out long and wear makeup? Like, that has any comparison to this? Manly men all grow out their hair all the time, especially compared with a beard and everything, you know. And then you have beautiful women with short hair like Winona Ryder, like the ones you guys compared me to, Dolores O'Riordan. You know, Juliette Lewis had short hair in Who's Eating Gilbert Grape. That looked good. Keira Knightley had short hair for a while, this pixie do, around the time the second Pirates of the Caribbean came out. Who else? Julie Andrews. Someone compared me to Julie Andrews. You know, short hair can be gorgeous. Or Audrey Hepburn. Short hair can be gorgeous on women. Some can pull it off, some can't. You know? Most women, I don't think they really can pull off this length of hair, this degree of shortness. You know, I'm lucky in that sense, because all my other sisters, and I have 3 other sisters, and just my siblings in general, have nice thick hair. 2 of my other siblings have my texture. All the other siblings I've had and all my sisters have really thick hair that grows out really kind of lush. Not like extremely thick, but you know, it grows out better than my hair does, nice and long. I wish my hair could grow that way, but it ends up stringy, static, uncomfortable, and it doesn't feel like myself. So I'm really grateful that I can pull it off. You know, I could pull it. I've had a buzz cut and I thought it looked good. Like G.I. Jane. What about Demi Moore when she had short hair? You know? Lots of gorgeous women with short hair. You know, so the idea that we should all look the way men expect us to in their favorite corno, you know, where it's like our hair is solely there to seduce guys and make them turned on or whatever. It's just kind of weird. It's just like, dude, you've got no relation to me. I can do whatever I want with my head. Seriously. It wouldn't even surprise me if some guys would rather I relapse than cut my hair. So it's that insane. Actually, I don't know about that. That might be a little extreme. You never know, though. People can have weird standards. Am I allowed to ask where you are from? Yeah, Pacific Northwest. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. It's about 90 degrees today, or 88 degrees today, but whatever. 90 degrees, I'd say. You look like Catwoman, sister. Oh, thank you. Halle Berry was really beautiful with short hair, too, you know? You gotta have the right facial structure and shape of the head for it, you know? This wouldn't look that as good on someone with a flat back of the head or with no chin, you know? And I know people like to tell me I look manly because of my damn chin, but that's not something I should be ashamed of either, because lots of very attractive people have strong jawlines and dimple like me. Women too. So don't really give much credence to what other people say about my looks, you know, unless it has to do with my health and it's something that I'm already aware of that I need to fix, you know. I love your chin. Thank you, DZ. I wouldn't worry about it. Health, safety, and food on the table is more important than looks. You have a great personality and inner beauty. Thank you. Thank you, Willow. Just a very different look with hair. Yeah, I mean, the jawline sharper than a sword. Thanks. I see collectibles, anything your fave. I don't know. Me, I got a Stormtrooper, Death Trooper figurine and Skyrim Dragon. Oh, I don't have anything like that. Weird how some men are intimidated by women with short hair. Weird. Super weird. I don't think I look aggressive. That's ridiculous. Let's see. I just want to look this thing up that was mentioned. I see collectibles, huh? Let me see. Oops. Damn it. I see collectibles. Okay. Oh. Okay. Interesting. IC Collectibles, or the IC more commonly refers to the community and spaces tied to the Indiana Nashville Collectors Convention, a vintage toy trading group such as IC Toys, though the phrase can also span niche hobbies like vintage integrated circuit computer chips or specific online storefronts. Okay, I've never heard of this. Interesting. So cool. So this is stuff like I could look through a bunch of collectible, kind of rare items, and maybe invest. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of careful about that stuff now because I've been a little rash in the past about trying to invest in things which I thought might make me more money in the future, but I ended up losing money. 'Cause yeah, it's kind of stupid. But yeah, I'll look at that. That looks interesting. I was born with no hair, dude. Jesus didn't give me long hair. I was born with no hair. And I have every right to cut it. That's not a fucking sin. So if guys let their hair grow out long, what if guys cut their hair short? Guys' hair isn't naturally short. They have to cut it for it to get short. Men in Jesus, like in the Bible days, didn't have short hair, I don't think. In fact, I think it was long with beards. So what about men? Why don't you guys have long hair? Huh? I'm not even a feminist, guys, but just double standards matter. I'll do what I want. I'll do whatever makes me comfortable. Whatever, and I think it looks a lot better. I think it makes me look cleaner, more svelte, more put together. It's low maintenance. I like it. I think Winona Ryder looks better with short hair. Some women do, I think. It's rare. It's not common for women to look better with shorter hair, like really short hair. Some people do. Like, my mom looks younger when she wouldn't look good with this hair per se, but with a bob, like this length, she looks younger when she'd get her hair cut short like that. Some people, it depends on their face shape. It depends on their features. Whether it's going to look good or not. Do I play any instruments? No. I grew up taking piano lessons, though. Teacher came along when I was drawing at the table when my brother was taking his practice. And she said, oh, you should take art lessons. I'm like, oh, that's what I want now. And, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way they're going to afford piano lessons and art lessons, so I'll ask my parents if I can take art lessons. Well, we never did that. Went to one lesson. My mom got triggered by something, and so we left and never came back, which sucked. I was so young, I couldn't even comprehend what was happening. I was like 8 years old, somewhere, 7 or 8 years old, man. And I got about 10 years ago, I got a guitar for Christmas, a Fender guitar, and I took it to work, to my place of work, this little local cafe, and one of my friends promised me he'd teach me how to play it, because I was having a really hard time with my hand coordination. Anyway, so I kept it in the stockroom. It's a big, heavy guitar. I kept it in the stockroom, and someone stole it. Someone stole it. Pawned it, probably. Just fucking jerk off. Made me really sad. I would love to learn how to play the guitar, I really wanted for my friend to teach me. So it made me really sad that someone would go in and steal that. Honestly, I think I know who did. I think it was someone I knew. He lied to me. He was beating around the bush. He was being weird about it. Accusing someone else I know of doing it when their stuff got stolen and pawned too. So, at those pawn shops, they really should ask for some type of verification, because people can steal things and pawn them like crazy. You remind me of Winona Ryder for some reason. I get that. When I had longer hair, people would compare me to, about another one with short hair, Sinead O'Connor. She's practically just buzzed was buzzed all the way, and she looked good. Anyhow, when I had long hair, people would tell me I looked like Linda Hamilton, the woman who played, what was her name in the no, not Tomb Raider, Terminator. Terminator. It was, What was her name? It's been a long time since I've seen Linda Hamilton. It's been a long time since I've seen The Terminator. For some reason, I remember her real name. Sarah Connor. I got Sarah Connor a lot when I had long hair. You pull it off for sure. Thank you, Beans Cheese. I love beans and cheese. What do I mean when I say my channel is about addiction? I talk about my experiences with addiction, and I try to inspire and encourage other people to recover or to resist cravings, or I tell them what I did to get better, to improve my circumstances, how I got out of rock bottom, what I did when I was going cold turkey, and when I, a month later when the boredom and anxiety ensued. I share all that, and I try to encourage other people to hold on and to never give up. So yeah, it helps to talk about addiction. And a lot of my viewers have struggles of their own, and a lot of my viewers come to my videos and to the comment section or my DMs and tell me that my content really, really helps them. So it makes it worth it to me. And I also sell paintings, and I also play video games, except that I do need a better graphics card. I can't really do that like I'd like to. I grew longer hair once as a man, but it takes too much effort to keep it. It's nothing wrong. It just feels like it could suit you better, but you do you, of course. I tried to grow out my hair long. It did not suit me. It certainly did not suit me. And I didn't like the feel of it. It grows out very fine, static. I have a cowlick right here. My hair's unruly. It lays flat on my head. Makes, I could accentuate this really nice hinterkopf in shape of the head that I naturally have. But when I let my hair grow out long, it just makes it look, This looks and feels so much better on me. And I shouldn't even be explaining that. I do what I want. Whatever, I do what I want. I've got a gambling addiction and I smoke weed. Yeah. I have an issue with weed myself, too. It's hard for me to resist. And if I do it in the morning, I end up not being as productive. I am a hairdresser, and there's nothing more triggering than listening to a client want to cut their hair shorter or say they can't recut it again because their husband doesn't like it short. Oh, good God. A lot of men like my hair short. It doesn't matter, though. I do what I want. You don't have to be a damned feminist to, not be a fucking doormat, and it's just like, okay, I'll do whatever you want, sir. I'll look however you please, man. No, I'm pretty healthy, and I'm gonna do what makes me comfortable and what makes me feel happy. But would you rather have someone who's just looks a little miserable because their hair is super annoying? Like, that hair was making me miserable. Would you rather have someone who's miserable because they're uncomfortable, but they look the way you want with just the long hair? Or would you rather have this Winona Ryder-esque haircut that suits me, and I'm happier, more natural in my conduct, just everything just flows better, if you know what I mean. Some guys would rather have a doll on their shelf than a woman who's confident, and that's a fact. My fucking man. Shando, well, he didn't go out before. Maybe he'll go out this time. I'll bet you need to go potty, Shando. Yep. Those clients have a horrible marriage. When I was younger, I was always jealous over the fact that my sister would be signed up for all the lessons she wanted and I would get none. Yeah. Yeah, that's happens a lot among siblings, you know. Some get more privileges than others, especially like the firstborn. You don't have to tell me. That's very typical. 99.9% of those 99.9% of those clients have a horrible marriage and are hanging on by a string, yet the husband has an opinion on the way that he wants her hair. I know, right? Ridiculous. Still can't explain it beside the fact that she was my dad's favorite. Yeah. Yeah, well, we have that here. They don't like to admit it, but, you know, it's pretty typical, especially if you have a ton of kids, you know. And probably cheating on her wouldn't surprise me. You know, guys who are that controlling of their significant other and want them to look a certain way are often they do cheat, I've noticed. That's what my ex did. He'd constantly compare me to other women when we take walks. It got to the point where if my feet, like, made any annoying sound on the pavement, like, you know, a little bit of dragging without I wasn't noticing it. It happened very briefly before he started scolding me for it in public. And I was, like, apologizing for it. Like, I shouldn't even be apologizing for it, but he just would not stop. He just kept going on and on and on. I did not hear the end of it for that entire day. It got to the point where I had a nervous breakdown because of something like that. You know? He was constantly saying these women have skinnier legs than you. That woman's more exotic and pretty, beautiful than you. They're like, blah, 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 blah. He compared he said that his classmate had better boobs than me, and I didn't, you know, think that he had actually seen them. I was too naive at that point. I thought, hell, he'd never do that to me. But then, lo and behold, found out he was cheating on me. You know? He didn't like my hair short either. And that's not why I get it short. I've had my hair cut short long before I ever went out with that guy. You know, it's just what I prefer. And I could care less about what anyone else thinks about it. I would have less respect for myself if I were to be like, okay, I'll do what you want. I'm not a doormat. I'll do what I want. Do whatever makes me comfortable. Jesus. Gender stereotypes create certain expectations, you know. We all suffer from them in a certain way, both men and women. Yeah, I agree. But I think it's all right if men want long hair. I've dated men with long hair, and it's fine. In my relationship, I was the one with short hair, the guy was the one with long hair. Doesn't really fucking matter. As long as a person can pull it off, it's like, whatever, you know? Even if they can't pull it off, they do whatever they want. That's healthy. How about we work on your beer belly? How about we work on you showing me more attention and I meeting my needs emotionally? I know, right? They never talk about that, but if a woman puts on like 5 pounds or 10 pounds, there are some guys who'll just lose it. Oh, now I know what the future's gonna be like. Some men completely lose it if their woman gains weight while she's pregnant. They'll leave her. Heard of that like a million times. A very, very common occurrence. So that's why I'm super careful about who I meet. You know, and not all men are like that. I know that. You know, people are good people and bad people. Doesn't matter what gender you are. There's just good people and bad people. So, you know, you don't want to, if you're a guy, you don't want to end up with a super malcontent, narcissistic, histrionic woman. You know, you don't want to end up with someone like an Amber Heard or whatever, or worse, you know, better or worse. But same here, like, I don't want to deal with a guy who treats me like my ex did, ever. And that could truly be the end of me if that were to happen. I got abandoned in the fucking wilderness at one point by him, twice. I could have I would have been completely lost out there. No map, nothing. No food, nothing. No. That could have killed me. I don't know if it would have killed me, but it could have. Unless, we didn't see any other hikers on that trail, man. That was well deep into the Diamond Peak Wilderness near the Cascadia Range. Nice paintings. I'm trying to paint too. Inspired to be inspired. That's awesome. I'd like to inspire people to paint too, man. That's another thing I'd like to inspire people to do. Nothing really made me feel more, flattered. I don't know about flattered, but because flattered doesn't seem sincere. But I felt really good when people at the cafe, not my regulars, some of them were regulars though, but some people would, I guess if they come back, they're regulars, but they didn't come back all the time, like some of my regulars were there every day. Anyway, people would come in after I'd already talked about how much I love painting and all this, like showed them a few of my paintings, and I'd get commissions at the cafe too. And there was this one woman who told me that she started painting finally, and it was it was a really good decision on her part. It made her really happy, and and that meant a lot to me. So if I can inspire people to experience the joy of painting, sometimes when I'm painting, 8 hours goes by and it feels like 2 hours went by. It's one of the few things that I can engage in where I'm completely immersed and it feels so natural to me. It's like I'm in my element. Yeah. Men having opinions on women's look as well. Yeah, but it's just, that happens. The thing is, they get triggered if women have opinions on their looks. Like, if a woman prefers to be with a tall man, they have an issue with it. It's kind of weird. Because men are always talking about, like, I don't date fat chicks and shit like that, A few of the men I dated were obsessed with dating skinny chicks, which in my mind, it was like red flag alert. I was scared at that point. I thought, well, what if I get pregnant and I gain 25 pounds, 30 pounds, which is natural. And by the way, to anyone who doesn't know, when you get pregnant, most of that weight is a bunch of other components, like the placenta weight, the baby itself, all that water retention. You should only, if you're of a healthy weight, you should only gain between 25 and 30 pounds. And when my mom got pregnant with her first kid, my dad was eating what she was eating, which was a lot of extra. My mom ate way more than she needed to during her pregnancies, granted. But my dad was eating the same things that she had. And after my mom had the baby, she lost the weight almost immediately. It just shed right off of her. Meanwhile, my dad stayed fat. Just saying, I love how there's no double standard to that. If a woman gains a little weight, she gets shamed so badly. But if a guy is constantly being lazy and drinking beer and getting fat, no one gives a shit. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. Now, most people with a brain aren't going to shame a woman for gaining a little bit of weight when she's pregnant, even if she gains a little more than she should. There's little empathy there too from certain people. There with women and that sort of thing, like hormones, there are intense cravings. You get intense cravings right before your period. It's like, for some people, it's really hard to resist that, especially if you already have sugar cravings, which many Americans do. It's like, there are some biological reasons for, good, valid biological reasons for why women have a propensity to gain more weight than men do. It's because men have more testosterone and muscle, which works as a metabolic engine. And women tend to have hormones which, increases fat production and content. You know, and it's in the healthy areas of the body. You know, like the hips and the buttocks and the, you know, it's like those are the more healthy areas to accumulate. With guys, it's like in the around where all the vital organs are. You know, it's just the thing is also people care less about their health typically and care more about their looks. Did anyone ever see you look like actress Mila Jovovich? I have gotten that before. What do I think of Youngblood? Nah. I've heard a little bit of it. Nah. No, thank you. Not my type. Not my cup of tea. I like hip hop. I like some hip hop. You know, I like A Tribe Called Quest. I like Jurassic 5 is like my favorite one. I like Deltron. Hey, buddy. Delta Funky Homo Sapien. MF Doom, MF Grimm. I like Moz. Okay. Def. All right, boy. I think he might want to hang out downstairs or something with me, so we might do that in a minute. I can't bring you down there, though. Probably going to end this live stream soon and start another one, because I got to do some things, but... Yeah, I like, who's that other one that I really like? It's like an Australian hip-hop group. Oh, I like Eminem a lot. Of course, everyone likes Eminem. He's like, he has superhuman abilities. Just a sec, baby. Okay, guys. We're going to read one Bible verse and be over with it. I think Shando can sense that we're almost done here, and he wants my attention. I'm going to give it to him. Okay, baby, I'm just a minute. Psalms, chapter 121. We're going to read a chapter of Proverbs, a chapter of Psalms. We'll start with some Psalms. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From whence does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Sorry, I'm a little behind here too. In 1 sec. And you look 25. Thank you, Tabby. I don't know any guy who wouldn't like this hairstyle on a girl. You look pretty. Thank you, Green Tools. Yeah, most guys like it, you know? You can't please everybody. You know, some people are going to tell me I should be thicker, you know? Some guys like them to be thick, you know? Like a big butt and everything, you know? I don't have that. I can't please everybody. You know, I'm not here to try to change my appearance to please people. You know, I do what feels right to me. Since being in my 30s, I find myself caring less about what other people think of me. It feels pretty good. Yeah, it's one of the best things about getting old. Absolutely. No way, alien actor OMG. Yeah, some people tell me I look like Sigourney Weaver. We all care about looks. Attraction is pretty random and quite often is not something that we are in control of exactly. Especially in the era of the dating apps where you can show your personality. We can't show your personality. Yeah, I agree. You get a lot of, I've been catfished a lot. A lot of men have catfished me. To be fair, weight on women often looks better than on men, of course, to a certain limit. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it seems like amongst women, the way our fat is distributed seems to vary more than with men. You know, you have like apple-shaped women, pear-shaped women, you know, hourglass, like Marilyn Monroe, where it's evenly distributed, you know what I mean? With guys, it seems to be in the, like, the big face. They tend to get big bloated face and a big beer gut, you know? That's very typical. But yeah, I mean, that's because naturally women tend to accumulate fat in the healthy places where you're supposed to accumulate fat. You know, it's for keeping the baby healthy. Everything, the way a woman's built is to keep her baby healthy, which I think is a beautiful thing. You know, it isn't beautiful to get morbidly obese. No, like a lot of Americans are so used to seeing fat people that they actually think that being well overweight is natural, and they'd probably look at me and think, "Oh my gosh, she's dying." You know, people are meant to move around, and we haven't been eating like highly processed corn syrup, sugar-filled foods for a very long time. You know, only since mass consumerism have we been really doing that. Bible verse, yes, we're doing that. I've struggled with alcohol, cocaine combat, anxiety, occasionally heroin, and other things. Went to a rehab. I'm over most of the drugs. Well, good for you, Robert. That's all that matters, is that you are taking the right steps and you're doing a good job. You're gonna feel so much better, man. Anna, your haircut knocked years, looking better, gorgeous woman. Thank you, Tavi. You know, that's what I was thinking last night. You know, I thought, hey, this makes me feel and look younger. So, that's good. Okay, we're going to read the Bible now. Thank you. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From whence does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, sometimes when I start to read, I have like a bubble stuck in my throat. It's annoying. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. I need to find my glasses, guys. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade. On your right hand, the sun will not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. Proverbs. I think we're on like chapter 21, maybe? Or 22. Where'd my bookmark go? Okay. I think we're on chapter 21 of Proverbs. The king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the lamp of the wicked are sin. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to want. The getting of treasures by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor and a snare of death. The violence of the wicked will sweep them away, because they refuse to do what is just. The way of the guilty is crooked, but the conduct of the pure is right. It is better to live in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a contentious woman. The soul of the wicked desires evil. His neighbor finds no mercy in his eyes. When a scoffer is punished, the simple becomes wise. When a wise man is instructed, he gains knowledge. The righteous observes the house of the wicked are cast down to ruin. He who closes his ear to the cry of the poor will himself cry out and not be heard. A gift in secret averts anger, and a bribe in the bosom strong wrath. When justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous, but dismay to evildoers. A man who wanders from the way of understanding will rest in the assembly of the dead. He who loves pleasure will be a poor man. He who loves wine and oil will not be rich. The wicked is a ransom for the righteous, and the faithless for the upright. It is better to live in a desert land than with a contentious and fretful woman. Precious treasure remains in a wise man's dwelling, but a foolish man devours it. He who pursues righteousness and kindness will find life and honor. A wise man scales the city of the mighty and brings down the stronghold in which they trust. He who keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. Scoffer is the name of the proud, haughty man, who acts with arrogant pride. The desire of the sluggard kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. All day long the wicked covets, but the righteous gives and does not hold back. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. How much more when he brings it with evil intent? A false witness will perish, but the word of a man who hears will endure. A wicked man puts on a bold face, but an upright man considers his ways. No wisdom, no understanding, no counsel can avail against the Lord. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. And we'll read chapter 22, and that's it. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. The rich and the poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all. A prudent man sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. The reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life. Thorns and snares are in the way of the perverse. He who guards himself will keep far from them. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is the slave of the lender. He who sows injustice will reap calamity, and the rod of his fury will fail. He who has a bountiful eye will be blessed, for he shares his bread with the poor. Drive out a scoffer, and strife will go out, and quarreling and abuse will cease. He who loves purity of heart and whose speech is gracious will have the king as his friend. The eyes of the Lord keep watch over knowledge, but he overthrows the words of the faithless. The sluggard says, There is a lion outside. I shall be slain in the streets. The mouth of a loose woman is a deep pit. He with whom the Lord is angry will fall into it. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline drives it far from him. He who oppresses the poor to increase his own wealth or gives to the rich will only come to want. Incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your mind to my knowledge, for it will be pleasant if you keep them within you. If all of them are ready on your lips, for it will be pleasant if you keep them within you, if all of them are ready on your lips. That your trust may be in the Lord, I have made them known to you today, even to you. Have I not written for you 30 sayings of admonition and knowledge, to show you what is right and true, that you may give a true answer to those who sent you? Do not rob the poor because he is poor, or crush the afflicted at the gate. For the Lord will plead their cause and despoil of life those who despoil them. Make no friendship with a man given to anger, nor go with a wrathful man, lest you learn his ways, and entangle yourself in a snare. Be not one of those who give pledges, who become surety for debts. If you have nothing with which to pay, Why should your bed be taken from under you? Remove not the ancient landmark which your fathers have set. Do you see a man skillful in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men. Okay. That's that for now. It'll chapter 23 or tomorrow. My name is Anne. And yeah, I'm Catholic. I didn't change my name. I can't change the name on my Instagram shit, guys. So it's, I was calling myself Anna Katrina, just kind of like, well, for one thing, I was kind of very protective of my identity at one point, so I changed my name just a tad bit. You know, and my piano teacher used to call me that as a kind of a term of endearment. She was a Russian lady, and she'd call me Anna Katerina. And so that was just kind of a term of endearment right there. But yeah, my name's Anne. A-N-N-E. That's what's on my fucking birth certificate, and I prefer it. But if people call me Anna, to be honest, I don't even care. I really don't care. It's like, do whatever you want. Don't care. They're similar enough. I just think Anne sounds, I don't know, Anna's softer. Anne sounds more serious. It sounds, I don't know, I just like it more. I like it more. Amen. Thank you for that, Anne. Don't throw your pearls among swine. Stay true and faithful. Wisdom is the precious jewels of God bless. Absolutely. That's absolutely true. One bang nabs, thank you. Okay, I'm about to leave this live stream and we'll start another one later, okay? So, I never said I was better than anyone else because I had an addiction. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Wow. Anyway, thank you, Truth. If you see nature, you see God. Amen. Thank you, Truth Lover. Thank you, Leo Ashen. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Sir Jacob. There's my favorite person. Thank you. Thank you, One Bang Nabs. Thank you, Woke. Date Chopper. Hey, thank you, Daniel. Okay. Thank you, Truth Lover. By the way, just to be clear with everyone, because I read a few weird comments here, I'm not a man hater, never have been. I love men. You know, if I were, into women, I'd be careful about the women I date. You know? I've seen women abuse men. It's not a gender thing. It's like, there are bad people in the world, and there are good people in the world. That's why you should be wary of red flags and be selective rather than trying to pursue just the idea of falling in love because everybody else wants to pursue it. Of course, it's one of the best feelings you can have. I've been in love before with a good man, but I'm careful about it. Got to be smart about that, wise. Has nothing to do with whether I like men or not. I love men. I like good people, men and women. As far as who I'm attracted to and who I want to spend the rest of my life with, you're damn right I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to let anyone act like they own me. Anywho, and there are unfortunately a lot of men like that. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, thank you, Leo. Thank, fuck. Thank you, it's good to be smart about things, you know, just because you know, don't want to end up in the same situation you were in before doesn't mean you're a femcel. Just because you had a bad experience with your ex doesn't mean you're a femcel. Just because you were beaten and cheated on and choked and had your paintings ripped up with a Rambo knife doesn't mean you're a femcel. That's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm a man lover. Most of my audience is male, 80%. Doesn't matter to me, really, you know? And I have a lot of friends that are guys. Most of my friends are guys. So you're wrong about me. You're wrong about that. I just stated before that there are good women, bad women. There are good men and bad men. And you're stupid. You're probably an incel who's projecting. No doubt. I'm pretty certain of that. Anywho. Thank you, Lisa. I know, right? Being tall or short is something you cannot change. These are men jumping on your life, suggesting stupid stuff. Exactly. Exactly. There are an awful lot of men who hate women around these places. I was watching a live stream last night of some dude sketching a couple's like caricature. You know, like he's drawing them in a very unflattering way, but it's caricature art for you. And it's just a young couple. They're both like 19 years old. And the fucking men in the chat, and this guy's awkwardly reading it aloud and making this girl like really blush, like I don't know what to say. They're very young. The guy's not dressed in a suit or anything. He's not an old man. He looks like he's younger than her. Right? He looks way younger than her. And but they're around the same age. And there are people in the chat literally saying, oh, she's leeching off of him because he has money. Like, how would you know? You don't know these people, you know? And they're all saying really perverted things about her, you know, saying, I wish I was that chair, you know, that, like, so she could sit on them. Like, this fucking weirdos, man. And a lot of people who actually hate women. Now, I don't hate men like that. I don't hate men at all. I think there are some men that, like some of my favorite like painters, artists, writers, John Steinbeck, Toulouse-Lautrec, Egon Schiele, you know, you know, I'm a daddy's girl. I look up to men. I love men. And I look up to good women too. Good people. I care about good people. You know? People are fucking stupid, man. Obsessive, chronically online, projecting constantly. Fucking incels. Thank you, JDVD. You're amazing too, man. No, I do not love that guy. I was 19 when I went out with him. Like, that was my first serious relationship. At first, I thought I loved him. You know, there was emotional attachment. But as he became more violent and hateful and would humiliate me in public, I grew a resentment and a fear. Like when I'd get home from work, I'd be like, oh no, what's gonna happen? I'm like filled with fear now. And I was working at a co-op, grocery co-op at that time. And when I worked in the deli compartment, there were times I got fired from that department because I had bruises on my face and I'd be late for work trying to fix those bruises up, and people still noticed and they'd ask questions and I'd lie about it. And I think they knew. Like it got to the point where like when my boyfriend did come into my place of work, you could notice I was shaking like a leaf. Just seeing him, stomach dropped, shaking like a leaf, completely frozen in place. And he has the nerve to say, you know, this isn't the right job for you. You look like you look like some English professor at a heavy metal concert. You don't look like you should be here. You know, like Little did he know, I was fine before he walked in. You know? I don't want to end up with someone like that. And that's one man. You know, there are lots of men like that, but not most of them. I wouldn't say most men are like that at all. There are a lot of good men in this world. Don't get it twisted. I'm not like you fucking woman hater. It's probably what you are. And you know who you are. I didn't go into detail, so I didn't share anything private. Everyone knows about that shit. And it triggers you because maybe you're just like that. Who knows? I don't know you. I don't claim to know you, but you sure do seem to be claiming to know me. Fucking moron. It's cringe as hell. Anyway, this is the old channel. Anyway, so we talked about recovery and addiction. We varnished my painting and we talked about paintings. We talked about dogs. We talked about Mad Honey. You know, we talked about a whole bunch of things today. We read the Bible. And I don't know where the topic of, you know, I hate men versus women. I think it's so fucking cringe and weird, you know? It's like all the men who assume that almost all women are liberal morons, which isn't true, by the way. I voted for Trump. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I want you, if you're, you know, I care if you're qualified. I don't care what color your skin is. I care if you're qualified. What do you call that? Like a meritocracy? Let me look that up just to be sure about that. I don't want to throw words around if I'm not using them. Let me see. Yeah, meritocracy. Yep. That's going to be the word of the day, meritocracy, because I think a lot of people wouldn't know what that means, unfortunately. Meritocracy is a system where people get power, jobs, and rewards based on their skill, talent, and hard work. It replaces old rules like family background, wealth, or who you know with personal achievement. So yeah, we need meritocracy, not DEI. Don't care, as long as you're qualified. Anyway. Yeah, I hate, well, no, I wouldn't say hate, kinda. I mean, I despise the women who promote DEI. The liberal women in Congress, or who somehow came to power, who are affecting policies, you know, making things difficult, and ruining the reputation of women in America. Seriously. Same with the radical feminists. I don't like radical feminism. I don't like modern feminism. Don't get it twisted. I know some people see short hair and think, oh my God, you know, it's so fucking dumb. Can you see I'm wearing a Trump shirt? I'm not even wearing this Trump shirt to prove anything. I'm wearing it because it's comfortable. But, it's just so fucking stupid, man. I appreciate the suffragettes and what they gave us, but I think modern feminism is full of people who think they're victims and they could care less about what women in Muslim countries are having to deal with. They think they have it better than they have here. It's all warped, just like everybody on the far left, or, you know, just not even the far left. Like the Democratic Party seems to be divided into, it's like, it's diverging into two groups. One group is ashamed of what's happening to their party, and the other one, they're a bunch of radicals who hate ICE, want illegal immigrants in our country despite all the gang of rapes happening to women. You know, they act like they care more about the Epstein files than Republicans do, when in fact they only care about it as far as they can implicate Trump. They don't care about the young women and children who are severely violated by Epstein and his accomplices. because they would care about all the gang rapes going on in places like the UK and, you know, like other European places and here sometimes, you know. I seem to hear a new case of some woman getting gang raped by an illegal immigrant almost every day. And it's 80% Middle Eastern immigrants, illegal. There's a difference, by the way, between illegal and legal. We welcome legal immigration, absolutely. But we do not like it when people just come. Look at what's happening in Spain. You know, you got Democratic leaders trying to make that happen. And you know why? It's obvious. It's so that they have a bigger group of people voting for them. You know the leader of Spain, what's his name? Perez Sanchez, I think. You know, he wasn't doing very well in the polls. And then he let, and this island has a pretty small population of people. I forget, like maybe 80,000, somewhere around then. And you had all these people from Morocco coming flooding in all at once from some dump truck. Like, it's, good God. And these people outnumbered the residents who lived there, the Spanish people, you know? And it's all because he wasn't doing well in the polls, and he has these people flooding in so that he has more people voting for him. They all are like, yeah, Perez Sanchez. They want civil war so that they have a stead on to bring in new world order. I agree 100%. They want to replace our Western civilization with third world values. And, you know, in the UK, I've heard they have a Sharia law court, apparently. It's scary. And there are people on the left and even people in power here who want that. You know? I'm fortunate to have my head screwed on right. And you know what? Most of my friends are conservative somehow. Even when I was liberal, I had conservative friends, you know? And I agreed with them secretly. I low-key agreed with them, but I was afraid to say it out loud because I was amongst a whole bunch of liberal acquaintances and people I worked with who would, you know, as soon as I started being more honest with myself, placing my integrity before fake friends, I've been ostracized, I've been canceled. You know, I was canceled by a family member who told me I'm a threat to my family. And it's crazy, man. It's the left really committing the vast majority of the violence. You know? Anyway. You are blessed beyond a curse. His mercy will endure. Thank you. How about you Americans mind your own business? You have nothing to do with Spain. Actually, no. We're observing what's going on. We have a right to have an opinion. And what's going on there is similar to what happened here. In fact, I've heard that when Biden was in power, it looked, I mean, of course, we have a much bigger area. But you had people going into, like, Texas and masses. We had a similar situation going on, or pretty much the same thing. People just dumping illegal immigrants into our country. And we observed that thinking, we're not going to let that happen to us again. It's wrong. We're not going to let you replace the West. You know, these people are bitter. They hate America. They hate Europe. They hate the West. And they want to dismantle, destroy it, and plant their flag onto our land. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up, because you know what? Like Marco Rubio said, these people are bitter. They're jealous of our civilization. They're all about murder, training their children to murder, treating women like cattle, and just fucking bombing people they don't like. Their whole entire fucking agenda is about death to all Jews. Disgusting. And we're not having that here. Bitch. I love you too, by the way. Thank you. Canada's crooked. They won't even hire you if you're born in the country. Yeah. Yeah, similar thing. Like in the UK, you see some white dude being ganged up on and beaten by a bunch of, illegal immigrants. People of, just because they have darker skin, the police completely ignore what they're doing. And there's like right on the curb watching this all go down. There's a video right on YouTube. And as soon as like the white guy breaks free, the police just bash him against the wall, handcuff him, take him by the nape of his neck, or it's like the cuff of his hair right here, and then just like force him into their patrol car. That's what's going on in the UK, and there have been more incidents just like that. They hate America, they hate the West, they hate white people, especially white men, and they want to replace us. As ridiculous as that may have sounded years ago, it's happening. And we have every right to make comments about what's going on or have opinions about what's going on in Spain. Because it's happening in the UK, it's happening in France, it's happening here. We're not going to fucking allow it. If we can help it. Thank you very much, Vimy. The world is 100% terrifying simulation, no lie. Seems that way sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, they want Sharia law. And communism. You look like Juliette Lewis with short hair. Thank you, Leslie. I got compared to her with long hair, too. Because I think she's been seen in both long hair and short hair. Yeah, she had short hair in Gilbert Grape. Who's eating Gilbert Grape? Yeah, Canada's cooked. You hear about that woman who overstayed her visa from Canada? Like a 33-something-year-old woman? She walked up to some underage 16-year-old girl who was she wasn't wearing a Trump shirt. Didn't have MAGA on it, nothing. Wasn't even red, white, and blue. It was a black shirt that said America 250 on it during the 4th of July. And this illegal Canadian immigrant comes walking up to her, big Karen, just punches her in the face. And when you look this up, the liberal media will tell you that it was a slap. Fucking stupid, man. Yeah, this is what's happening. They're the violent ones. They're the racist ones. They're the ones projecting. It's like they've forgotten also that we're the ones who stopped slavery, and they're the ones who wanted to continue it. They try to sugarcoat their racism. They try to make it seem like they're righteous, but they're so condescending towards minorities. They treat black people like they're stupid. They do. Like Kamala Harris trying to appeal to black men. I bring up this example. You can have all the free weed if you want if you vote for me. It's disgusting. Disgusting. When Trump tries to make black neighborhoods safer, people call him racist for it. It's absolutely disgusting. Meanwhile, you have black mothers with their children, and they're like, thank God for Trump making these neighborhoods safer so I don't have to worry about my kid getting shot. There's nothing racist about trying to help that. Who wants to live like that? No one. And for liberal or people on the left to assume that black people want to live like that is racist. That's like saying that I want to be like if I live in the South and some like Appalachian boonies, then they're gonna say like, oh, they want to be white trash or whatever. No one wants to live like that. Then they say he's homophobic. Well, back when it wasn't popular, he had a gay couple married at Mar-a-Lago, but they never bring that up. He wants to end gay marriage. No, he doesn't. Not even close. Yeah, these people just label people all the time. All they care about is labels. All they care about is labels. We millennials, we were like, please don't label me. But now people have on their profile pictures this pronoun, zim, zer, z. Good God. Bunch of fucking narcissists that want to be victims. Think they're the main character of the story. In fact, they think that this world is like a Disney movie where they're the good guys and we're the bad guys. We're like, yeah, they literally do think we're the Nazis, guys. Imagine that. They're the ones who are fascist. They're, it's so obvious. Like, for instance, the January 6th thing that went on. You had this one guy who said that like these people, this one guy who wasn't even in the state at the time, went to jail with no real due process. He was just in jail 3 years. He thinks this libtard thinks that this guy should be in jail longer, and he doesn't know anything about the details of the case. He doesn't care to know. He just wants a Trump supporter in jail. That's all he cares about. Just like they say shit about Charlie Kirk, man. He wasn't racist or homophobic or anything like that. No, completely the opposite. But these same liberals who think that like black people want to live in, poor, dilapidated, crime-ridden neighborhoods, they think that they want to live that way. No one wants to live that way. If everyone had a lot of money and could just live anywhere, people would, man. They'd live in the nicest place they could find, There's some people I will say, however, it doesn't matter if you're black or white or whatever. If you're raised and you grow up in a very chaotic environment, some people feel more like natural in that scenario. Like I've been around white people who are like that, like where they grew up in really dysfunctional families. So if there isn't any, they start stuff. They're like hellraisers, and they start shit because when the room gets too quiet, they feel like something's not right. This is just not natural for me. I gotta set, start some chaos to get everybody riled up, and then they feel like they're at home. Some kids can be brought up to find some type of weird comfort in that. I've known white people who are like that. I'm not saying black people are like that. I'm saying people in general, can become accustomed to dysfunction and disorder and think that that's all they've known, and that's the natural way that life is for them. It's very sad, and we shouldn't be encouraging that life. We should be helping these people, so that there isn't like ongoing generational trauma in the continuance of this issue, which is prevalent all over the place. Doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what gender you are. I like this side of Ann. Truth needs to be said. Thank you, Taffy. People grow up going to church can be dysfunctional. Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Sure, absolutely. And some Christians can be real hypocrites. They can be the ones who are, judging people, and then they fail to look at themselves in the mirror. They judge some based on what they're doing with their life, but they're doing something with their life that could be arguably worse. Because they should know, you know what I mean? Some people just don't practice what they preach. I care more about the truth. And I'm tired of the lies. All the libtards dancing on deceased conservatives' graves. It's disgusting. I haven't seen a single... Well, I didn't approve of Trump's response to when Rob Reiner passed away. I didn't like that. And I think he could handle the Epstein files a lot better. But I see him as a means to a much better end. He's the only one who brought up the Epstein files. There's no way in hell that any Democrat leader would have brought them up, because it's it points to a lot of them. It implicates a lot of them in that scene. There a lot of Democrats are involved with Epstein. A lot of rich, powerful men in general, sure. Did you know that Trump wasn't accepted into Bohemian Grove? They wouldn't let him in. Even though it's a club for the rich and powerful, men's only club, they would not let Trump in there. I wonder why. The only reason why he's brought up in the Epstein files is because they didn't want to be exposed. Trump was exposing them, and they were trying to blackmail him. But people say, he's in the files, oh my God. But they say nothing about Clinton. They'd probably kiss Clinton's ass if they could. I don't watch Fox News, you fucking moron. I don't. I watch Nick Shirley. I watch Blair White. Ground News. Sometimes. I like Nick Shirley. He's the best. Nick Shirley is my man. Just saying. You're a fucking moron, Victor. Okay, guys. Thank you for coming to my channel. See you later, okay? Thank you very much. I'm here a little longer than I said I'd be. All right. Hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't let the frickin' morons get to you. You know, they're not going to make me lose sleep at night. See, Mark is calling me a liberal. They're so clueless. Anyway, bye-bye.